Question number 4. For the 40th podcast in a row, we're going to talk about the Houston Rockets. Are the Houston Rockets a real contender to win a playoff series this season? So far, the Houston Rockets are 13-6 this year. They look great. I mean, if we're just being completely honest, they have a top 2 defense. They have a top 20 offense, but their net rating, they have a plus 8.5 net rating. That's 4th in the league. I think their strength of schedule is up to like 9th now in the West, so not like catastrophic necessarily. Where are you at with the Houston Rockets in terms of them actually contending in a real playoff series this year?
Yeah, sure. I'll say yes. Like, I don't know that I would bet money on this one. I don't know that I'm as strong as maybe I am some others, but if you tell me they get into the playoffs, obviously that looks very likely right now. Likely, very maybe strong because the West is so good, but looks likely. And if you tell me they get in there and like, who says Jalen Green doesn't have a series, right? We saw him go a whole month where he played unbelievable, right? Different level of competition, but if it's the right matchup where a team, what if they play a team that doesn't have a perimeter stopper, Sam, that doesn't have the athleticism to stay with Jalen Green or the depth that when they bring in Amin Thompson and Tariq Eason, that they can run with those guys? What if they play a team that's not very athletic and just their athleticism is able to take advantage of that? Let alone the experience of Fred VanVleet, who starting to play a little bit better than the percentage is still not great. And you mentioned how good Dylan Brooks has been playing. So when your defense is that good, you have some potential guys that can go crazy scoring. I think you would have a chance. I don't know that I'd bet on it, but sure, I think there's a chance they go win a series depending on the matchup.
I think there's a chance.
Okay, they break their hearts. I can't wait. Your mentions will be insane.
Yeah, I think there's a chance. I think that they are. I know they're 13-6 and they look great to this point. I do worry that in a playoff series, their lack of ability to consistently break down defenders off the dribble and get teams into rotation and create efficient shots on offense will be something that a team playing them game after game in a 7-game series will be able to particularly exploit. Like there are a number of players out there on the court that you can theoretically get away from guarding in a playoff series. Like if Dylan Brooks goes through one of his poor shooting stretches that happen, like he's shooting 40%. He's been truly one of the best role players in the league this year. I've said that a few times now, and it's not inaccurate. Dylan Brooks has been unbelievable this season. If he goes through a poor shooting stretch, you don't really have to guard him. Jabari Smith, like teams already go through stretches where they don't really guard him from time to time, depending on if he's a confident shooter that night. Jalen Green, I mean, like you do have to guard him, which is good, but his decision-making is not very good. Fred VanVleet, goes through stretches where the shot is falling, where it's not falling, right? Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, those are guys the teams just like aren't going to worry about guarding from time to time in the playoffs, right?
They're 27th in the NBA in 3-point attempt rate and 25th in 3-point percentage. So like there's obviously some floor spacing concerns, especially when you get into a playoff situation.
And frankly, like, I love Alperen Şengün. I love what he's done this year. He's been better defensively this year. He's really been a high level passer this year. I really, really want to note that like the inefficiency around the rim, it's a problem because it costs the Rockets like 3 points, 4 points per 100 possessions. Actually, no, he doesn't play 100 possessions. So per 60 to 70 possessions, which is like a big fucking difference in terms of your overall like team's net or offensive rating, right? He needs to finish around the basket better. But because he doesn't finish around the basket better, like currently Alperen Şengün right now around the rim, among players that have taken at least 60 shots around the rim centers, he is second worst with only Klingon behind him right now. So he needs to be able to consistently finish around the rim. Now, here's the good news for Şengün. If he does consistently finish around the rim, probably one of the best players, like one of the top 15 players in the league at that point. Like he might be that. And we've seen him finish around the rim before. So you hope that that comes to fruition. He has been really good across all facets of the game outside of his scoring this season. But what the issue is that when he's not scoring, it artificially diminishes their ability to score when they get the ball into him. But B, what you're seeing teams do is they're not really worrying about doubling him. They're just kind of crowding his passing angles and like lanes and trying to cut off any sort of angle that can be created as a passer. So the fact that he's not finishing around the rim well and they're able to like kind of mostly single cover him for the most part with the right guys means that you're not actually opening up passing angles and taking advantage of his ability to be a hub unless you're giving him the ball like out at the top of the key in ball screen and short rolls, like different situations like that. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of the high net worth for any net worth for just $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For specific product disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Let's break this question down to like its simplest form. Right now, in a 7-game series, Rockets over the Thunder. No. Warriors.
Probably not for me. That's an interesting matchup, though.
It is an interesting matchup. I would probably give the lean to a Steph Curry and Draymond Green team, even though there's some arguments there. The Grizzlies, healthy.
Healthy Grizzlies, no.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know how, like, I don't know if a healthy Grizzlies is a realistic thing. So, like,
okay.
In the aggregate, I might take the Rockets over the Grizzlies, but if we're saying fully healthy Grizzlies, I would take the Grizzlies.
Suns.
I would take the Suns.
The Lakers. This one's interesting.
Right now, I would take the I would take the Rockets actually against the Lakers, but the Lakers, I think. So here's the other thing about the Rockets here as we go through this exercise, and I think it's an interesting exercise for sure. The Rockets have more trade firepower than anybody in the league right now.
This is very true.
So, like, the question is, do they decide to cash in on that right now? Or do they take it into the offseason when Jalen Green's contract isn't poison pilled and you can find different avenues to be able to make trades? Or do they try and cash in? Like the Jalen Green deal, you can move that now. Like there's actually a trade, like you can do something like, I think it's like Jalen Green, Steven Adams, and like Aaron Holiday or something. And maybe you have to include Jock Lawndale or Jeff Green in there for Zach LaVine and, you know, Duarte or Javon Carter or whatever you want to do. Right. And I'm not saying that they should do this. Like, I don't know that that's actually a good move for them. Having said that, like Jalen Green gets expensive next year and Zach LaVine is a drastically better player than Jalen Green right now. So you lose that like contract efficiency that is Jalen Green. He needs to get good like immediately, basically. So I don't know what to do there with all of this. They're a weird team when it comes to trades. The other piece of it with the Rockets is, and like I'm not breaking news here, but that front office like really tends to love its guys, like the guys that they have. Now the good news is that like there are guys on that team that I don't know that the front office is like super attached to, right? Like Jock Lawndale, Steven Adams, one of those guys probably can get moved. You could probably move Jayshawn Tate's expiring deal. You could probably move Jeff Green if you want to, but Jeff Green, from what I gather, is like a really nice veteran presence to have around all of those kids. So you have like ways to do it without moving bodies and by using the picks that you have at your disposal.
Say you have real pick equity as well if you really want to make a move.
Totally. So I'll be interested to see how they attack the deadline, I think, is my question. I don't know how that will occur yet.
I agree. And I think based on all of that, the other teams like the Clippers would be a fun series because neither of those teams might score. They'll just play games in the 80s for sure. Nuggets, Mavericks, Spurs, or the 10 seed. Like, I think the answer is yes, based off the exercise we just went through and what you mentioned there. Unless they don't want to. Like, I guess that would be the thing is if they don't want to make a move and they want to figure out what this group looks like in a playoff series and what Jalen Green looks like in a playoff series, which I made the argument for the Thunder doing that last year. So I'd be hypocritical to say that the Rockets shouldn't. I guess I would be okay seeing that. That could be the thing that cost them from actually winning one and not even all in, but making a move. But I think my answer is yes. I think I've talked myself into yes. I think they're a contender to win a playoff series depending on matchup.
I agree with you that I think they are a contender to win a playoff series depending on the matchup, but I want to see kind of where the league settles at the deadline before I like really dive all the way into that one.